All right, everyone. So, from an article with IGN, we just got maybe the biggest news about Gears of War, and this to me, I'm going to give you some perspective as a longtime Gears of War player. Is the most shocking part. All right, so we have forms of wall canceling in there, but you won't be able to do wall bouncing the way you've done it in the past. Cersei said. There are lots of other things you can do. There are ways to play with it. It's not entirely gone. We think we found a balance in terms of how that really feels. But back to my catchphrase, it's a new game. If you come back expecting to play exactly like a previous Gears game, it won't be that way. It will probably be an adjustment, but it's also built around the same mechanics. I don't think, I actually shouldn't say that. Social media is handling this, I think, actually with the proper bigness it is, right? Like, this is a major deal. If just going back to my childhood when I was playing Gears of War 2, there were 2 things, okay, that there was, like, unwritten rules in Gears of War, and the first was no two-piecing, right? In Gears of War 2, you were supposed to use the Nasher at all times, okay, and you were never supposed to two-piece. I remember playing online, it's like, "Oh, you're two-piecing, you stink." Everybody just you wall bounced and you used the Nasher, and that's what the good players did, right? I remember as, like, a kid growing up, like, obviously nowadays I'd care less about that, but back in the day, it's like, yeah, you wanna be you wanna look cool, so you gotta do it that way. So to hear a Gears of War game not having wall bouncing blows my mind because that was Gears, right? Even in new games, it's like there are people that use wall bouncing to their advantage to a level of, like, that is getting good at the game, right? It's like in Fortnite building in a sense, right? It was like a precursor to that where that was wall bouncing. Wall bouncing was really the game. And this is why when we did the reaction to the trailer or the direct, whatever it was, um, I was like, the movement to me was the first thing that stuck out. I was like, this is the game changing thing, right? This is what is going to make or break this game for a lot of people. And I'm happy that, for, at least on social media, and you never know, maybe you're just in an algorithm or something like that, that it seems like this is being taken positively. And I think that's right because Gears of War, as much as like I said, decades ago, me, right, would be like, "Oh, wall bouncing's everything, right? It's awesome." You need to grow with it, and I think anybody who's new that goes and plays Reloaded or any of the new games realizes that wall bouncing was kind of I read this in one of the social media posts, was kind of a barrier of entry for a lot of people. Same thing with Fortnite, I think, where, like, after the build once people got great at building, that's why they put in, like, no build, right? Because people were, like, kind of like, I don't know if I wanna learn to build to that level," right? I don't know if I wanna be learning to wall bounce to that level and that's kind of the whole game, and there are a lot of unfair things, I think, that come along with that, where it's like, this guy's host or whatever it is, and sometimes there are times when you die in Gears of War where you're like, man, I didn't have a chance. I didn't have a freaking chance in hell of doing that. So I think if you're trying to make this series kind of a big again, part of it is fixing what I think are those kind of problems, right? And so I love that they're making this change, and I love that Cersei's saying here, listen, this is going to be a Gears of War game. If you're a fan of Gears of War, this is Gears. Okay, you're going to come here. It's going to be a love letter to the franchise, but we're making changes where we think they need to be made. That's what I like to see, right? That is people who I think understand what needs to be done to take this series to the next level. Now, this could backfire completely and not be the right decision that whatever they put in, right? Whatever they do may not be what people want. The game may flop, and all of that's fine. But the right decision is to move past wall bouncing at like to upgrade the Gears of War formula in some way. And like I said, to me, that's like it's like it's crazy because Gears of War to me always was like it's so funny thinking back to when I used to play with all my friends in Gears of War 2. It was just don't steal kills, right? So if somebody downs the guy, let the other guy get it, right? Let him get it. Don't steal kills. Don't two piece, and everybody's just wall bouncing all the time. So I don't even know how many times I even used and no chainsawing, right? I don't even know how many times I used the Lancer back in the day. Seriously, I mean, that's the type of stuff that was happening, and that's how far we've come. But I think it's time for that upgrade, right? It's time to get away from that and bring this to a new audience. But it's crucial that it's still a Gears of War game. And I think from seeing the movement, I think we're getting there because let's just be frank about it, right? Even so I was playing a little bit of Call of Duty, and then I went back to Gears, and there is like a, and I know people don't all love the movement in Call of Duty, but I think the slowness of Gears of War is is one thing that probably holds it back slightly. And I know part of the game is built around that a little bit, right? It's not going to be Call of Duty running and jumping around, but just speed it up like 0.2%, right? That's all we need. And I think a little bit of that is where we're coming. So this could be, I mean, this could be the biggest mistake they make in terms of the stuff they put in, but it's a risk they have to take. Because if they just bring out the same old Gears of War game, I don't think people are going to take to it, right? I just don't. I think the series has fallen to a level where you gotta shake it up a bit, but you have to keep it Gears because you can't just say, "Well, we're going to try to bring in new people and turn off the hardcore fans." You need the mesh of the two, and I'm hoping at least so far we may get that. All right, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next.